Yeah, so and there's definitely some debate about how the stages are classified in different areas of forensic science, but uh, most of us in the forensic entomology community, we have settled on 5 stages of decomposition.
Okay.
And so the first stage is considered fresh, and so this is immediately after death. And at this point, um, humans can't necessarily detect the volatiles that are given off during decomposition, but the insects certainly can.
Makes
So
sense.
if we arrived, we might not smell anything that we would associate with death and decomposition, but as soon as you die, your muscles start to give off those volatiles, and that's what the insects can pick up on. And
Mm,
so the fresh stage, it really depends on the environment. It depends on the temperature and the humidity that the body is in as to how long that will last. But during that time, your body is cooling, your blood is settling, your muscles are starting to stiffen. So all of the typical things that you think about soon after death.
right.
And so that stage will end when the body starts to bloat. And so bloating is the next stage, and that's because we're covered in microbes inside and out. And
Hmm.
after death, those microbes don't necessarily stop working. So one of the byproducts of those microbes is gas. And so a lot of the smells that we associate with decomposition are because of those microbes and what they're producing. And so as that gas starts to build up, especially in the abdomen, we have a lot of bacteria in our digestive tract. As the gases start to accumulate, that causes the body to start to inflate. And so during that bloated stage is when we have distension of the remains. We have a lot more insect activity. So the flies will start to arrive during the fresh stage. They're laying their eggs, and then their eggs will hatch into maggots. The bloated stage, they're still arriving, but now we have maggots that are also feeding at those areas. And then as those gases accumulate and as you have maggots that are starting to penetrate the tissue, the gases will start to be released. And when that
Mm,
happens, we move into the next stage. So that's active decomposition. And so during this stage, it's considered active because this is primarily when we have a lot of insect activity. So we
mm,
have masses of maggots, or in some instances, just tens of thousands of maggots that are completely covering the remains. So
right.
that's considered active, and that's when they're really consuming a lot of that tissue. And so once the maggots have finished feeding and they've consumed most of the soft tissue, now they move away from the remains. They're trying to find a dry location to move into their next life stage so they can pupate. And when they move off, what's left behind is really some of the cartilage or tendons or some of the other bits that haven't been consumed. And so we consider this the advanced decomposition stage. Now
Are
there's
they,
still,
sorry,
yeah, go right ahead.
are they not consuming some of these tendons or cartilage because it's like too hard to get into, or are they like just all full or something like that?
I think it's probably a combination. I think they probably could, but the maggots, my guess is that the way that I do this, like they have mouth parts, like they have 2 little hooks as their mouth. It's actually kind of
Okay,
cute if you look at it under a microscope. I guess for people that like maggots, it's cute.
fair enough.
And so, and so they'll consume the soft tissues. And so in terms of nutrient richness, the organs and the muscles are going to be more beneficial for them rather than something like cartilage or tendons, which could also be tough. And as that soft tissue is removed and all you have are some of those harder parts, it's easier for some of our other beetles to consume that. They can scrape some of that away from the bone. So it's easier for them to consume. So I think
Gotcha.
the maggots are more interested in what's the easiest, not that they're mindful of this necessarily, but what is the easiest food that they can consume and how quickly can they develop? Because every minute that they're there is a dangerous time for them because of all of the
Right.
potential predators and other issues. So,
Gotcha.
so from that advanced stage, um, and that again will depend on the environment and how many insects are there. But from that stage, we move into the last stage of decomposition, which is just the skeletal, or some people just refer to it as the remains stage. And that's where there's very little insect activity, very little resource, if any, and that can go on for an extensive period of time if the remains aren't discovered.
Okay, okay. So you said fresh, bloating, active decomposition. I think I missed one, and then
Advanced
advanced
decomposition.
decomposition, and
Yeah.
then the last one you said not skeletal,
Skeletal,
but oh, what's
skeletal or remains. It goes by
okay,
both.
skeletal.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay,
Mhm.
okay.